Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Jagannath Swami Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Swami Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Swami Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Swami Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva 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 Jaya Subhadra 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 Ayana Patagani Bhavatuni Ayana Patagani Bhavatuni Ayana Patagani Bhavatuni Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga 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 Nitai 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 Gauranga Nitai 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 Gauranga Nitai 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 Gauranga Nitai 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 Gauranga Gora 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai 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 Gauranga Nitai 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 Gauranga Nitai 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 Gauranga Nitai 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 Gauranga Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Hare Krishna, everyone. We're very fortunate to have Her Grace Devaki Mataji here. So I'll just give a brief introduction. Devaki Mataji is a disciple of His Holiness Niranjan Maharaj. She joined the Brahmacharini ashram in Sydney, Australia in 1985. As a Grihastha, she helped to pioneer the first more organized temple in the former Soviet Union, and since 1999, she serves as a renowned traveling preacher, regularly visiting India, Bangladesh, Eastern and Western Europe, the USA, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, and others. She served on the GBC Committee for Devotee Care and currently promotes such care as a top priority within the ISKCON family. Her multifaceted understanding of the Vaishnav culture inspired her to establish the Institute for Spiritual Culture in 2014, offering insightful education in Vaishnav life. She has published 6 books and conducts holy name retreats around the world. So let's welcome her with 3 Hari Bols.
Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. Om Agyanandasya Agyanandurasakaya Chakshurmritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhisam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadhantikam Namam Vishnu Padakasya Vishnu Uttari Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurani Puchaine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pasvata Vishatana Vanchakapa Dvivesha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Padittanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, thank you so much for coming together once again. Let me see, who did I not meet yesterday? A few new faces, but most of you I met yesterday. Yeah, I find sometimes it's difficult for me to remember all the faces. Especially, you Indian body people, you all look similar. All dark hair, dark eyes, shining bright faces. And I think you have the same problem with us, you. Yes, I hope you understand. I'm also getting older, and yeah, when you come to a place where every face is a new face, so then it becomes difficult. Okay, good. So, let us go straight to our topic of the day, the false ego, right?
Yes.
Our constant companion and troublemaker. As you see, there is even a book with the same title. Actually, when I give the course in Mayapur, I give it over 10 hours. Yes. So here we have only 1 hour or something. So this is just a little insight, just touching upon the topic, hoping that whoever didn't get the book yesterday will get it today. Yeah, so obviously the book is so much more, you know. But to begin with, let me just share a few thoughts and realizations which actually inspired me to give this topic more attention. Because as you may have heard in the little introduction, I do conduct holy name retreats all around the world. And after conducting so many holy name retreats in Bangladesh and Ukraine before the war and all over the place, so then one day this realization hit me that unless we also parallel to our endeavors to get on deeper levels of chanting, if we don't parallel make an endeavor to subdue and dissolve the false ego, then our endeavor to chant can be compared with an elephant taking bath. So what's the elephant doing when he comes out? He takes with the trunk or the dust, throws it back on his back. You know? And that's actually what happens to us, because we are so trapped in these false ego patterns of behaviors. And after all our endeavors to chant, we just slide back into that, you know? And then, as we know, Mahaprabhu says, Trinada Pisunichana, so we have to be more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. So that means false ego has to be dissolved, otherwise we can't really receive the benefit and the mercy which the Holy Name carries. You know? Yeah, so that realization struck me one day, and I thought, my God, yeah, I have to look more into this false ego topic. Yeah, otherwise, well, we're kind of trapped there in our false ego patterns of behaviors, and we can't actually move forward, and we can't actually really chant the Holy Name. I think on Saturday, we're talking about the Holy Name, right? Is Saturday your biggest program?
Yes.
Yes, so that's why I thought let's put the topic of the Holy Name on Saturday, you know, because it's so relevant. Yeah. Yes. So, and then another interesting thing is that the bigger the false ego is, the less we can see it. You know, you may think it should be the other way around. That the bigger and more prominent it is, the more obvious it is to see it. But no, it's like that. The bigger it is, the less we see it. Because false ego blocks our ears, blocks our intelligence, and we can't see, we can't understand. And in this regard, I once had this amusing little episode, you know, with one lady in Europe. She has a very prominent and dominant false ego. And as a result of that, she always gets herself into some conflict and tension with people. And at some stage she was a little discouraged, and she kind of was turning towards me and opening her heart a little bit. So I thought, all right, let me try and help her to understand what the problem is. But I was very careful, because I know false ego doesn't like to be poked and tickled there, you know. So I was very careful. I was simply saying, well, you know, the false ego always gets us into trouble. And then she reacted in a very interesting way. She was laughing it off, saying, come on, false ego, what's that? I don't have that. How is it possible? You know, you have such a dominant false ego, and then you think you don't have it. Oh, I was shocked. You know, I didn't know what to say. So then I answered, I wish I could say that about myself. You know, false ego, I don't have that. I wish I could say that about myself. That's all I said. I didn't try to say anything else. But that's really what it's like. You know, in our more neophyte stage, we don't even realize. And as we get purified, more and more, we realize every day the false ego gets into our way, and we say and do things which we shouldn't say and do. And we do the opposite, we defend and boost and protect the false ego instead of dissolving it. You know, yeah. It requires a little bit of purification actually, to be perceptive enough to actually detect it. You know, yeah, that's how subtle it is. And then another time I was giving some 3 sessions on that topic in Vrindavan actually. And there was also one lady taking part who I know for quite a few years. She is seriously practicing for at least 20 years, probably even longer. Lives in Vrindavan, initiated everything. And then afterwards she came up to me and said, "Oh Mataji, thank you so much for giving this seminar. Now I realize I actually have a false ego." That's what she said. And then she explained, "I always thought this is just some philosophical, technical thing, you know, which has no relevance for me. But now I realize, you know, after 20 years of practice, or even more, you know, that's how it can go." Yes. Yeah, so, these are all the little thoughts and realizations where I really feel this is such an important topic. So important that I wrote a whole book about it. Yes. And I had quite a bit of good feedback on the book. And saying that hopefully it's not from my false ego coming here. But no, it's just such an important topic. We can completely... Actually, this is another interesting thing, that we can actually completely miss the target of Krishna consciousness. And instead of subduing and dissolving the false ego, we can all boost it and feed it like anything. All in the name of preaching. Social media, internet offers a lot of opportunities for this. Yes. Yes. In the name of preaching, the devotees have told me how they get so anxious. "Oh, I'm not getting so many likes for my posts, and others get more, and I don't have so many followers, and this is all false ego stuff, in the name of preaching." Yes. And actually not longer, because yesterday I shared I live without a mobile phone. I don't have much presence there on social media. I mean, people talk me into having a Facebook page, but I'm hiding behind my Institute for Spiritual Culture, because I don't want to be bothered with all these silly comments and questions and stuff, Yeah, and somebody else manages it for me. And I check quickly every day what's happening there. And I don't even know how to see anybody else's posts on Facebook. I only when I put Facebook in my browser, my page comes up already open, and that's all I see. I don't see anything else. I don't want to know, and I don't want to see. Yeah, but this social media is quite dangerous. I am not advanced enough not to get affected by this. That's why I'm staying away. Yeah. And just not long ago, one very senior devotee, disciple of Prabhupada, even a sannyasi, I won't say who, but he asked me, "Oh, how many followers do you have?" And I didn't even know what he meant. And I said, "Followers? I don't know. And then I said to him, I'm not into followers. That's what I said. He just looked at me as if he was thinking, where are you, for which planet are you from? Yeah, and then later I realized, oh, he must have meant followers on YouTube or Facebook or what. You know, I didn't even understand what he was talking about. You know? Yeah, so, and we are chanting in many temples after Mangaladi, we chant the Shikshastakam, you know, I don't want any followers. Yeah, we chant it all nicely, but hey, are we really not after followers? Or maybe we are, you know, all in the name of preaching, it's all in the name of preaching. Yeah, we have to be very careful. All right, so much as a little introduction. Yes, I want to try and not make it so late like it was yesterday. So, yeah. All right, so let us understand false ego is what? Well, we know the soul is covered by the gross body, made from earth, water, fire, air, ether. So, and then there is the subtle body of mind, intelligence, and here we have it, false ego. So it's like the most subtle element of the subtle material body. And it's so subtle that we easily miss it. Yeah. And like in the gross body, you show me where's the earth in your body. Can't. Or the fire, or the ether. Where's the ether? You know? So it's all mixed together, you know, or intertwined and mixed, and you can't actually separate them. And it's similarly like that with the subtle body too. Mind, intelligence, false ego. You know, they affect each other backwards and forwards. You can't clearly separate them. But we can say that the false ego uses the mind and intelligence as tools to get the gratification the false ego demands. This is quite interesting. You know, as we get some insights into the false ego's workings, we can actually discover that. In like, let's say, when we chant our japa, we may think, oh, the uncontrolled mind, you know, the mind, the mind, the mind. We always talk about the mind, but actually behind the mind is the false ego hiding. And the false ego uses the mind as a tool to harass us. You know, yes. So actually the real source of the problem is very often the false ego. You know, especially when, you know, when we have different topics going in circles in our head, very often at japa, right? You know that experience? Or is it only me? You know, some monologues, dialogues, some issues which you just can't park and drop and put aside, and it goes on and on and on. Guaranteed a sign of the false ego. Yeah. Whenever we find ourselves in this situation, it's the false ego driving us nuts. Yes. Yeah, so that's how it works, you know. So false ego uses the mind and intelligence. And yeah, yesterday we mentioned how the contaminated intelligence finds all the justifications for anything, you know. So again, contaminated intelligence finds all the good reasons why I'm okay and so are the others, and you know, so that's how it works. You know. Yeah, did you switch off the AC just because I came or something? Is it? It is getting a little. I'm starting. I'm working here. I mean, all sleep very nicely. I'm just starting to get a little sweaty. But feels like being on my apple. Yes. All right. So now, and interest on, we also know that the subtle body takes the soul at the moment of death to the next destination, right? So we have been carrying this mind, intelligence, thoughts, ego with us for so many lifetimes, so many, yeah. And we can only put an end to this if mind, intelligence, thoughts, ego are fully transformed and spiritualized, and all the material impressions and desires and attachments, they're all replaced with spiritual impressions, desires, attachments, and. So, and the false ego, if there's a false ego, there also has to be a real ego, right? Mm-hmm. So what's the real ego?
I am a servant of Krishna.
Jiva Svabhava Krishna Nityadas. I am eternally servant. But we say this so easily, every message we finish with you are servant. So it's very easy said, but yeah, not so easy to actually really deeply realize that, and throw all the other identifications overboard. And also interesting, false ego starts acting and harassing us already at young age. For all of those of you who have kids, you know this. I once remember I visited one family, their daughter was about 1. She just could walk, but she couldn't talk yet. And while I was sitting in the lounge room talking to the parents, she was bringing all her toys. And I didn't give it that much importance. I thought, okay, she wants to play. But then the mother said, she's showing off her toys because you are here. And I thought, oh my God. Already at that age, we want to show off. Oh, my toys are so special because they're my toys, that's why I am so special. That's the false ego, already at 1 year of age. My God. And even before then, even when kids are smaller, they have their tantrums and ego battles and they want to push their thing through and all this. It's already at that age, false ego. Yeah, the toys are the first possession. My toy. The kids often argue over the toys. Yeah, so basically, in a nutshell, the false ego makes us believe to be something which we are not. That's the essence, that we think ourselves to be something which we are not. So, and it starts, I'm a boy, I'm a girl, I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm German, I'm Russian, I'm this and that. And then we grow up a bit, so now I'm student, I'm medical, engineering, IT, whatever it may be. So, and then we may get married. So now I'm husband, I'm wife, I'm father, I'm mother, and I'm this and that. And even when we join Krishna consciousness, it doesn't finish there. No, I'm a brahmachari, I'm a grihastha, I'm the head pujari, I'm Sankirtan leader, I'm the Bhakti leader, I'm Bhakti Viksha leader, and temple president, and. So, very natural as we go through life, we accept so many roles. There's nothing wrong with that. We all play different roles. So in our home, in the family, we have certain roles. Then at work in the office, we have a different role. Then in the community of the devotees, we may have a different role. So very natural. We play different roles. And we can say they are like hats or caps we wear at certain times, right? Yeah. So we put the mother's hat on, and then when we are in the office or whatever work we may be doing, so different hat and so on. So, but hopefully we don't identify with a hat. Usually we don't, even though we may, if it is a very unique and extraordinary hat, that the hat almost becomes part of me, and then when I lose it, oh, I lost some part of me or something. But as a rule, we don't identify so much with a hat. A hat is a hat. But with these roles, we identify so much. So why is this? You tell me. Why do we identify so much with these roles?
Because we're in the material world, and we.
Okay, we're in the material world. What else?
Because of false ego.
You want to be the enjoyer?
Yes, that gets closer because these roles give us some subtle gratification. They give us a sense of importance. I am somebody, right? Some little recognition. And that's exactly what the false ego is running after. The false ego wants to enjoy the sense, the sense of importance. Yeah, that's how it goes. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, good to understand. And of course, the more prominent and prestigious our hat, our position is, the more we get attached to enjoying that, right? Yes. I mean, let's do a 2-minute exercise. Turn to your neighbor and share. Which is your favorite hat? Which is your role? You are which is so near and dear to you that having to give it up is almost worse than death. So, quickly share. Just 2. No, you turn to your neighbor, not with me. We all share. Quickly, 2 minutes, turn to your neighbor. Best if you just get together with 2. If you hang on. Wait. Just share in pairs, otherwise you don't get enough time to talk if you share with 4 or 5 people, because I don't want to give you half an hour here to talk, but just 2 or 3 minutes. So if you share in pairs, then you get some time to talk. Okay.
She never said that. But of course it's trying. What was the question? What did you identify? I don't know. What role you identify? What we go to Western it's like what is good. As a mother, I also enjoy it my parents. That is also She's saying she doesn't have to go. That's good. What is the role that you identify the most? What is the role that you identify the most? That is the most important which one is the
Okay, good. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Hari Hari Bol. So, I saw some of you were talking a fair bit, but hopefully was to the topic and not something else. Yeah, I mean, oi. For ladies, I am a mother. That can be a pretty big one, right? Yeah, yes. Because mothers are sacrificing so much, I dare say maybe more than fathers. Being pregnant for 9 months and running. Yeah, mother-child relationship, very intimate and close connection. Yeah. So, and often we can see how difficult it is for mothers to take off this I'm the mother's hat. When the kids are 15, 16, 17, we have to take this hat off and we have to put on the next one. I'm the friend. Yes. And for many mothers, this is really a challenge. And sometimes the son is already 45 and the mother still harasses him and instructs and corrects and tries to tell him what to do. Yes, and I mean, we don't have any brahmacharis here, but I'm a brahmachari hat. Ooh, this can be a really big one. Because naturally, when you wear saffron, there's quite a bit of glory and recognition there, And I remember once I was giving a more detailed seminar on this, and there was a whole bunch of brahmacharis there. And then 1 year later, one of them came up to me and said, "Oh, Mataji, you remember you gave the seminar? I actually realized my main motivation for being a brahmachari was just the false ego. So now I'm in white and I'm getting married." He was just openly sharing. Yes. I mean, whenever we think, oh, what will everybody think? This is false ego. And for the brahmacharis, it's a big thing to change ashrams. What will everybody think? Oh my God. So it's good to understand it. And of course, if we try to pretend to be something which we are not, we definitely can't be peaceful, right? We always have to convince everybody that we are something which we are actually not. So this would bring a lot of anxiety along. Sleepless nights. Right? Yes. And I mean, sleeping tablets are the tablets #1, especially in the US. So we can just imagine an example. Let's say we are just a cleaner in a big company, And then one day we proclaim, so I'm the director now. My God, that would be a lot of anxiety. What if people realize that I'm actually not? And how can I convince them that I am the director, you know? And then after a few days we say, oh, it was just a joke, I'm actually just like, oh, thank God, you know, I can relax and I can just be my very self, just cruising along and cleaning. Yes. So that's what happens in the material world, you know, as long as we are so influenced by false ego, always trying to be something which we are not. We cannot be peaceful. Yeah. We will always be in anxiety, how to control, how to enjoy, how to, you know, this is mine and you know. And then as we, you know, become a bit purified and false ego is gradually a little more subdued, so then we actually, proportionally, we become more peaceful. You know? Yes. Yeah, so we can nicely observe these things. And also in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada gives this nice analogy. He says life in the material world is like a nonsensical stage performance. Prabhupada's choice of words is often very unique. A nonsensical stage performance, a crazy circus. And that's exactly what life in the material world is, you know? One life we are in an Indian man's body. And we run. Oh, I'm so important. I have so many important things to do. Busy. Running. And then death comes, curtain closes, show is over. It's all finished. You know? And then, next life. Woman's body in Germany, if you're unlucky. And again, oh, I'm German, so many important things to do, life is so busy, running. You know, the whole nonsensical stage performance is going on, and then curtain closes, show is over, it's all finished. The next life maybe dog in Sweden. Dogs also have, you know, a dog's mind, dog's intelligence. Oh yeah, and some things they're so much smarter than we are. You know, they can smell all different things there. The apple in your suitcase and all that when you enter the US. So, yeah, they're pretty clever. But dog's false ego, oh my God, this is also pretty prominent, you know? Get out of here, barking. This is my property here, you know, completely. Actually, this morning, so funny. I was going for a walk, you know, in the morning, and there's all these people walking their dogs. And there was this elderly couple, they had a pram, you know, a kid's pram, and they had these two little dogs in there. It was so funny, I've never seen that before. And then there was another lady with a dog, and the dogs in the pram were getting up, barking from the pram, you know. Oh my God, so funny. Yeah, I think that you only find in America that people drive their dogs from a pram, you know. I mean, usually people walk their dogs.
They also have a purse for the dog.
Yeah, some bags, some traveling bags. I saw that on the train or some lady. But I've never seen people walking. I mean, usually the whole idea is that the dog gets a bit of exercise. That you're not putting him in a stand. Oh my God. I should have actually talked to them, you know, nicely. This is interesting. Why are you driving your dog for a walk? You know? Can't walk, you know. Anyway, yeah, so dogs definitely have a strong false ego, you know, yes. So like that, lifetime after lifetime, nonsensical stage performance, you know. That's really what life in the material world is all about. And the false ego is what entangles us into this whole nonsensical stage performance, you know, thinking ourselves to be something which we are not, thinking ourselves to be so busy and important and running, and oh, I don't have time for this Hare Krishna stuff. I'm too busy. And then death, everything finishes. You know? It's good to remember sometimes that all these things which are now so important to us, our job and our house and our mortgage and this and that, at the moment of death, no significance whatsoever. It's all part of the nonsensical stage performance. Yeah. The only thing that counts at the moment of death is my relationship with Krishna. That's actually eternal reality. What we think to be reality is just a nonsensical stage performance. Yeah? It's just like a nightmare, a dream, an illusory dream world. And it's all over when we're about to leave. You know? Yeah. So good to keep this in the back of the mind. You know? Sometimes, well, not only sometimes, quite often I ask myself, is this really important at the moment of death? No, it's not. Okay, good. Good to know. Yes. Yes. So now, well, time is going. Let me turn to one verse from the Bhagavad Gita, 1858. There Krishna gives us two choices of acting. Yes, two options. No need to really look it up. You can, of course, but yeah. So, option number one, Krishna says, if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. That's option number one. So let's look at it again. If you become conscious of me. So what does it mean to act in consciousness of Krishna? What does it mean?
Respecting all living entities.
I am the servant of the Lord.
Yes, in connection with the false ego, it means to act in this consciousness of I am servant. Nothing else. I'm simply servant. And of course it also means we follow Krishna's instructions and recommendations and so then we will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by Krishna's grace. Wow. You know, that's quite amazing. So being servant actually offers the solution to every problem. We will see that in a minute. Yeah. We may also have heard this analogy in the Bhagavatam, how life in the material world is like being in an insurmountable ocean. No chance to get out, right? Insurmountable ocean, drowning. So, and this ocean of material existence shrinks to the size of a hoof print of a calf, not a cow, a calf, filled with water. Amazing. So if you imagine you go to Alachua and you go for a little walk and you step over a hoof print of a calf filled with water, will this be a big deal? No, you don't even notice it. So this whole insurmountable ocean of material existence shrinks to that size, hoofprint of a calf. And we can easily cross beyond it by Krishna's grace if we act in consciousness of Krishna. That's option number one. So then option number two, if however you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. Yes. At the latest, we will be lost at the moment of death, when we have to do another round in the material world. But already so many times before we are lost. It's also another very practical thing we can consider when we look back into our life. Whenever we had some tension, some unpleasant experience, unwanted situation. Now looking back, we may be able to realize, yes, I was acting under false ego. I tried to prove that I know better, or I tried to be the hero who saved the situation, or I tried to push my idea through, or whatever it may have been, And then usually that creates our miseries, yes, very often. At the moment, at that time, we don't see it, because the false ego blocks our ears and our intelligence, and we can't hear, as Krishna says, not hearing me or his pure devotee. So then we can't see. But then hopefully we get a bit more purified, and then later on, looking back, we realize, oh yeah, okay, not surprising that I was in this suffering condition there. That my false ego created my miseries. Yeah, so that's how it works. Really, being the servant offers the solution to everything. It's really like that. Let's take a little example from everyday life in ISKCON. Let's imagine we are the temple president. And then one day the GBC comes and says, oh, maybe somebody else should do the service. If we are in the mood of servant, will not be a problem. We will say, okay, fine, I thought I can serve you like this as temple president, but if you have some other idea, okay, please let me know. All I want to do is serve. So let me know how I can serve. So there will be no issue whatsoever, right? Yes. But usually it doesn't work like that. I observed that also for 40 years, and I was scratching my head thinking, well, what's happening here, That the Shastras are promising detachment and all that, but where is it actually, So, we can get quite attached to posts and titles and positions and sometimes, my God, I don't want to sound critical or something, but sometimes it's a whole big thing to remove somebody. Whole big politics happening and some arguing and oh my God, yes. I sometimes make this joke, but it's actually true, it's not even a joke. I've seen it, the only way how to remove somebody is to promote him, of being the GBC in some little island there, So here, you're a GBC, over there, go there, So then we think, okay, I'm getting ahead here from temple president to GBC. I've observed all these things going on. Yeah, so, very simple example. Or let's take a different example. Let's imagine we are a traveling preacher and we visit one community and we are scheduled to give the Sunday feast lecture. And then maybe some more senior person comes, a Maharaj or something, and then the temple president says, oh, maybe we should ask Maharaj to give the class. So if we are in the mood of service, no issue, okay. All I want to do is serve. I can serve by hearing, I can serve by speaking. It's all the same to me. Let him speak, I will hear. But if we are not in the mood of servant, we get all agitated. What is this? He was not even scheduled, and this is my chance to meet the community, and I especially came. And I will never ever go to this place again. And you know, so we get all angry and agitated. I've seen that too, you know. Yeah, in these situations, they may provoke a little bit the false ego and tickle it a little bit. So, but if we know about the false ego's workings, then we realize, hey, hang on, you know, let's not give in to the false ego's demands here, you know. Yeah. Yes. So that's what's going on. So being servant is always the solution. Very practical thing to keep in the back of your mind. Whenever you find yourself in an unpleasant, irritating situation, try and make these 2 steps back and ask yourself, what's going on here? Am I actually servant, or am I trying to be the controller and enjoyer and proprietor and you know? Again, family life offers so much opportunities to dissolve the false ego. It's actually all about that. Learning to become humble servant, selfless humble servant, you know. And yeah, I mean, we can ruin our whole family life just over ego battles, you know. Yes. Often people come with me to me with their family problems. Oh, I'm getting a little cold.
We can give you
remembering
reward for the
remembering the family problems. I'm getting more cold. No, often people come and share all their things and say, oh yeah, we're always arguing over these petty, stupid little things. I don't know why we are arguing. Well, I know it's false ego. That's what it is. Because often these arguments, they're so silly little things. They're not some life-death decisions or something. No, they're just some stupid, trivial little matters. And people spoil their whole family relationships. And not only family, also friendships over some stupid family false ego matters. Yes. All right. But this verse also gives us another good thing to understand, namely that there are 2 motivating forces in life. Right? So, in material life, the motivating force is false ego, ambitiousness. I want to become this, that, and the other thing. You know, we kind of take some designation which we think this will really nicely gratify my false ego. You know, so I want to become that. As a rule, it's like that. You know, we don't necessarily, unless we are devotees, maybe we don't choose a profession because we want to serve humanity or something. But no, this whole position in society, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm this, that, the other thing. You know, so that's how it goes. Some ambitious, you know, false ego drive. You know, and that gets us going. So that's the path to success in material life. But in spiritual life, there's a different motivating force. What's the motivating force there?
To please Krishna, if we are really sincere.
Yes. And
To serve
get
the
out of the
devotee.
material
Love.
all I want to do is serve.
Serve the devotee.
Yes, all I want to do is serve. Serve, serve, serve. You know? That actually should be the motivating force. And it's interesting, if we actually develop a genuine, selfless service attitude, Krishna in the heart witnesses that. And Krishna makes the right arrangements at the right time. He opens all the right opportunities and doors at the right time to move forward. So in Krishna consciousness, we don't have to chalk out some whole career or what do I want to become, a sannyasi, a worldwide traveling preacher, famous kirtaniya with 500,000 followers on YouTube. You know? No need. But very easily, because that's what's happening out there, that's a motivating force in the material world. So we take that into our spiritual life, and we think this is also the other path to success, but it's not. Yeah, it's good to know this, that all we have to worry about is really give our heart and soul in service. And it's very practical. If we actually serve nicely, then naturally more service opportunities will come towards us, sometimes even more than we can handle, and our seniors and guru will see, or maybe the person can take more responsibility, and it's all coming towards us, actually, without even planning. It may even be beyond imagination. I remember once when I was talking about this in Mayapur, then one devotee in the audience was saying, yeah, but Mataji, were you not planning to travel the world and write books? Sorry, no, I never had that plan. I couldn't even conceive of it, But yeah, it usually in spiritual life, things should come as order from above. You should travel, you should write. That's how it should come. Not, oh, I want to be a writer and famous. That's false ego. No, we should actually wait until the order comes. Yeah. Because, to do something, if we want to reach people's hearts and transform them a little bit, we actually need some little empowerment from Krishna. We, out of our own power, we can maybe do a really impressive show here or something, but to actually transform people's hearts, we need some little empowerment from Krishna. And we don't get that through ambitiousness. No, that's not very attractive to Krishna. But if we actually have the mood of sacrifice, that we are willing to sacrifice ourselves, our convenience, our personal comfort, and to somehow please Prabhupada and Krishna and Guru. So that attracts Krishna's mercy, that spirit of sacrifice. And our first generation devotees, the Prabhupada disciples, they demonstrated that, and at least those who were still there. They had that spirit of sacrificing themselves. And that, empowered them. And then they could do so many things. I mean, in the early days, there was no Bhakti Shastri, no Bhakti Vaibhava, nothing. It was the sacrifice was the spirit. Not saying that we shouldn't do these courses, but sometimes I feel, people are running for certificates, and sometimes for my courses and my I sometimes get these emails, oh, do we get a certificate? And I usually answer, well, at the moment of death, Krishna is not so interested what certificates we have. That's usually what I say. Yeah, but people just go for these externals. It's just a question, oh, I've done that course and that course and that course, and here I've got all the certificates on my wall there. God. I mean, that's not what bhakti is dependent on, how many certificates we have or something, Yeah, so, yeah, we have to be careful, that we check a little bit our motivation and understand that, yes, if we genuinely give ourselves in service, that will attract Krishna's merciful glance and Prabhupada's satisfaction. And then naturally the right doors will open at the right time for us to move forward. It really works like that, really. Good to know, right? Yeah, good to know. And also I once heard a nice thing in a class. We may find ourselves in a situation where we feel actually we could do so much more, but somehow it's not happening. The opportunities are not coming up. So what does that mean? It means that Krishna can see that we are not qualified to handle the successes. And that's why he puts the handbrake on. In other words, if he would allow us to do something, then we may get too puffed up by the successes. And then our whole bhakti garden of bhakti lata will be spoiled and poisoned through the pride. So that's why he doesn't allow us to do things. Yes. So it simply means, yes, we have to purify our heart a bit more. So, any of you have had that experience that you feel you could do actually more, but somehow it's not happening?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I also had that experience, and looking back I realized why I couldn't do so many things then, but at the time we may not realize, especially if we don't have a counselor or mentor who can tell us, hey, just cool down, wait, the time will come. And then, if we're in a woman's body, we may make it a gender thing. Oh, it's because I'm a woman, that's why I can't do all these things. But no, it's Krishna, he's putting the handbrakes on, so yeah, interesting. Yeah, so saying all this does of course not mean that the false ego is all bad. No. False ego also has some little good part in it. At least it gets us going. Yeah. Because in our more neophyte stage, the motivating force of the false ego is definitely more prominent than the motivating force of all I want to do is serve Krishna and his devotees. Yes. And I once heard the saying, all right, false ego has to be given up, but not too quickly. Not before we have cultivated at least a little bit this mood of serving Krishna and the devotees. Because if we give it up too quickly, then we fall into tamaguna and laziness and we do nothing. So false ego is like Krishna's trick. He tricks us into doing something. Like family life, there has to be that sense of ownership. Yeah, it's a very strong motivating force. My house, my wife, my husband, my kids, my dog, my garden, my car. I've observed these things, at least in Europe it's like that. The temple cars, they're usually bombs. Everybody bashes them around, nobody services them, Oh, it's just the temples, oh, it's just Krishna's. But my car, I'm very particular, and oh, you made a scratch on my car. So my car, if it's mine, we are very dutiful and responsible. But actually it should be the other way around. Oh, it's just my car, but Krishna's car, that should get all the attention, Yeah. Yeah, so family life, has to be connected with a sense of ownership that makes people responsible, yes, and dutiful. And then eventually the purification should set in, mainly also through the, importance of giving in charity that loosens that knot of I, me and mine, and by opening your doors and inviting the Vaishnavas, it's not just my house for my enjoyment, but now I'm meant to, invite the Vaishnavas and guests and so yeah, then gradually this I, me and mine becomes a little less prominent, yes. But yeah, so it has some little good part also. Often I also see it, like sometimes temples have brahmacharini ashrams. I was in the brahmacharini ashram in Sydney for 4 years. So, and you can see, often the girls, they come to the point, 5 hours service, I'm too tired, can't do it. Simply because the motivating force is not developed. For the first year or two it's fun, but then usually they get a little tired. So it means it's the time to get married. And then, my husband, my kids, then they're flying, doing so many things, And I'm often smiling to myself, when you have a baby, it's almost like the same schedule in the ashram. We get up at 4:30, and you don't feed Krishna but your baby, and you bathe the baby, not Krishna, and you're busy the whole day with the baby, So why can't we do that same in the brahmacharini ashram, But no, the motivating force is not developed. But my child, that gets us going, So it's Krishna's trick to teach us, become true servant, And then hopefully, after a whole journey of married life in Krishna consciousness, we get that purification that, finally now, Vanaprastha ashram, now I can serve Krishna to my heart's content, Yes. So yeah, some little good thing is also there. Okay, so let us see if we have some questions. Yes. How to switch it up?
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. So, as you mentioned, Hare Krishna, thank you so much for the wonderful class, Mataji. So you said that the identity or the role that we are
Playing. Not we are, but we are playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically when we are in the material world and then we are living that role in and out every day, and that becomes our identity, even though it's material. So how do we not relate with that, or how do we not be attached to it?
Well, it's a whole big topic, In the book is so much in there. Yeah, we won't have the time to, But the whole process of Krishna consciousness, is meant to help us dissolve the false ego, that we understand it's just a role we are playing, but actually we're servant. So even as a mother, we have to tell ourselves, actually I'm just servant. Krishna put this spirit soul in my life, and I'm meant to serve it, and so 15, 16, so then from then onwards I have to be friend, Yeah. So hearing is always the first step. But just in a nutshell, the two main elements that helps us dissolve the false ego is chanting, but There's a whole big secret to it. If we just chant mumbling something down, on the counter while we go shopping and driving and all that, so that will not do anything. That's completely useless. So we're going to talk about that on Saturday. But just in a nutshell, what dissolves the false ego is chanting while longing to serve. Yes.
Serve only Krishna or devotees or just
Simply longing to serve. All I want to do is serve. Yes. And it's very logical if we really spend 2 or 2.5 hours every day chanting, trying to chant like that, then sooner or later the day will come when we realize I'm servant. Right? Yes. So that's one thing. And then Vaishnava etiquette and culture. In the book I'm describing so many rules of Vaishnava etiquette and culture which we in the Western world we don't even know and we don't follow them. So the whole Vaishnava etiquette and culture is designed to help us become Trinada, peace in the Trinada. If we would be there already, then we wouldn't need Vaishnava etiquette and culture, then we would spontaneously act in the right way. So chanting and Vaishnava etiquette and culture.
thank you so much.
Okay, what else? You had some question or something?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much. This enlightening session. So Mataji, most of the time it's very hard to identify whether it is the order or it's our own desire.
Is it?
What is desire?
Whether it's the order or
so
desire?
like what we want to do, like it's like you said the book writing example, right? Whether it is the order or you want to do it. So like how to identify that? I mean, when
Well, the order has to come.
so like
Somebody has to tell you, you should write. I mean, I was shocked when I got that order. I never thought of writing. And I was thinking, my God, writing a book, how do you even do it? How do you know? Yeah, I was completely shocked. And then I went to, my spiritual master and asked him what he thinks. And he said, yeah, well, if you feel you've got something to say. And so, yeah, and then I was contemplating and praying. And my God, so, yeah. I mean, it's not that, everything has to go the way it did in my life. But for me, it was not difficult to distinguish what's the order and what's the desire, because I never even thought of this. But yeah, I often meet people, young devotees, oh yeah, I want to write a book, and okay. Yeah, no, we first have to, accept a bit of tapasya and serve, and then maybe Krishna, lets us know through some senior devotees. No, the order should come from senior devotees, guru, or senior guru. Or maybe if we have that idea, we can humbly go to a senior person and ask, what do you think? Maybe we should I do this, or what do you think? So, and then the person might tell us, no, maybe better to wait. Actually, the other day, I think we also talked about the false ego. Somebody in the audience told me how their mentor or counselor told him to close his YouTube channel. I thought, well, not so many people would say that, but obviously he could see. He was just, these days, I mean, anybody can become world famous overnight just by posting the most ridiculous things there, and often very young devotees, I have my YouTube channel and this and that. It's all feeding the false ego in the name of preaching. And people don't even realize. You know? I mean, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says one thing, or he said, he did not allow his disciples to have a picture of him in public. And he said, while I'm alive, you cannot do this. And if I remember correctly, it was even on the altar in public. And he said, while I'm alive, you cannot do this. It's not good for my false ego. Only when I'm gone, then you can do. Yeah. So sometimes I'm wondering what he would say about Facebook and all this. You know? Yes. I mean, I remember when Facebook came out and some young girl showed me, oh, Mataji, look here, Facebook. And I immediately said, oh my God, this is not for me. You know? All the people posting all these ridiculous pictures of themselves, you know, and the more crazy, the better, you know, the more crazy the pictures are, the more views you get. Ah, God. You know, all these selfies and yeah, it's all feeding the false ego. That's all it does. And people just go for it and don't even realize devotees also getting sucked in. Yeah, so, yeah, it may sound like, what? Your counsel told you to close your YouTube channel? You know, people may get all, what is this? He is preaching. But no, yeah, he had a good reason. And he said, yeah, I was very glad actually. And I'm not occupied with this anymore. And so, yeah. Anything else? Yes.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for the wonderful, wonderful class. When I think about my false ego, always I get frustrated that my kids are not grateful, my husband is not grateful, my mother is not grateful, and I'm not grateful. So when I think about it, I'm not grateful for what they are doing as well. So how do I cultivate this quality, Mataji?
Gratitude. Well, it's connected with humility, you know. Humility we can see as a primary quality which manifests as gratitude, as respect, as tolerance, as patience, as forgiveness. They're all secondary qualities of humility. So a humble person is always grateful, yeah? But a proud person is never grateful for anything. So that's how it's connected. So it's a question of humility.
So again, it calls back to chanting and...
Yeah, also I heard once a good thing. You know, how to be humble? Very simple. Just introspect and be honest. You know, look in your heart and be honest. Well, I'm sure we find a lot of enough stuff in there to be humble. Isn't it?
Yeah, I do introspect in the night and I feel that, and then the next day morning again.
Well, maybe you have a look at the false ego book. Maybe you get a few ideas there. I mean, yeah, it's a lifetime journey, and sometimes even over several lifetimes, I think. You know, but yeah, it's good to be conscious of it and detect these things, you know. That's already a lot of progress, because for so many lifetimes we probably never even noticed, you know. No. So now, it's your turn.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for the wonderful class. Just I have two questions. First question is, so when the false ego is dissolved, so then do we become self-realized?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So if the false ego is dissolved, then we purely identify as servant. Right? Yeah. So purity is on that level. Prabhupada didn't have a false ego. In Bhaktisiddhanta, he says it's not good for my false ego, but he doesn't have a false ego. He simply said that for us. Yeah, so obviously. And second question.
The second question again. Yesterday's on topic, you said envy goes hand in hand with false ego. And I was also thinking probably arrogance, pride. So the relationship between all these different anarthas, can you shed some light?
Well, false ego is the root cause because we think ourselves to be something which we are not. So we think ourselves to be the enjoyer. And yesterday we said as soon as the desire for sense gratification comes, then envy comes. Yes. So false ego is actually the root cause of it all. Yes. That we think ourselves to be something else and not tiny, insignificant servant of the servant of the servant. What else? Yes.
Maybe I don't need the mic. First of all, Mataji, I'm so happy by Krishna's mercy. The first time we have like a exalted Vaishnavi coming us and yes.
Don't massage my thoughts.
And sharing this, like giving this lecture on this practical application of Krishna consciousness, because most of the time we hear about the lila or the philosophy, which is very good, but sometimes we cannot get in between the lines. What is a message? Even if we read the Bhagavatam from back to back, we cannot get this. Maybe it's our Kali Yuga mind. We are not purified enough. So thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
So
thank you for expressing that.
thank you so much.
Closer to the mic.
And I have one more question.
Okay.
So how do we develop? We hear it all the time. We have to be serving. Yeah. So how do we practically? How do we develop? Because it's not that we have this in service mood all the time. How do we constantly be in the service mood? To be a servant. In modern age, we don't think it's say, oh, this is such a this is. I don't know. It's such a utopia to be like a servant. It's not like a
I mean, as I said, family life is definitely a very good scenario to cultivate a service mate, I mean, definitely, I observe this all the time. Yes. This is getting broadcasted, is it?
Yes.
I can watch out what I'm saying.
We can pause it, yeah.
Yeah, pause it. Because some people here in North America may not like to hear this.
I'll stop it.
Yeah, just stop it.